Hello again, listeners. It's me, Gianluca. I very much enjoyed meeting you. And make sure you look after Mr. Yeti. He's a great guy. I will be back to see you soon again. Okay? Goodbye for now. Enjoy.
Ew. Smells like it's time for another Shy Life podcast.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good luck, studio.
Oh, it's the Shy Life podcast.
Oh, there's going to be some drama ahead.
All I wanted was a pie, and then I hatched out of an egg.
Okay, bring the mic over. He's ready to record.
Hello. It's the quiet ones you've got to watch, you know.
Is it metaphorical? Is it deep? Is it deep?
Boy, he's not all that shy is right.
Blimey, Governor. It's the Shy Life podcast.
Hello, Paul.
Excellent. 658.
658.
Bonjour et bienvenue au podcast The Shy Life.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shy Life podcast with me, Paul the Shy Yeti. How are you doing? I'm all right. So what's this episode going to be about? Well, it's another Chatterbox edition. Hooray! At the moment, we've got 5 special guests. Actually, no, 4, because you can't really count me. I'm not a special guest on my own show. But I'm very special. We might have one other person turning up. We've got one cancellation, but that's understandable. But let me run the theme music. When we come back, I'll introduce everybody bit by bit.
This is my arm.
Inch by inch.
This is my best bit.
Run that theme music.
By inch, that will take a while.
Darling, it's the Shy Life podcast.
Yes, but it's a positive thing, Paul. The High Life, the Shy Life.
You won't find a cast of characters like this everywhere.
I'll go anywhere for a potato.
Delicious.
Hello, campers. How are you? You quite like a big bang, don't you, Paul?
Go Shy Yeti.
Oh, I hope he hasn't found out my secret. Do you think he has?
I love the Yeti'S. It's my favorite thing.
If you thought that was bad, just listen to this.
Yeah, I'm strangely drawn to Uncle John's ankles as well.
I could eat more body weight in crisps every day.
Has anyone seen my hot sausage?
It's all gooey and meaty. Yum, 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 yum.
Oh, I can't wait for it to begin.
It's the Shy Life podcast.
I like that. Yeah.
Marvellous, Paul.
Hi there.
And we're back, yes. So
Do we have apologies, Mr. Charles?
we have apologies for Mr. Toppy Smelly, but it's a family crisis, so that's quite understandable. We do have some extra material, and I think there is some Toppy in that. So he'll be here, and we're thinking about him. So I am in the room with Mr. Nick Goodman.
Hello.
So he's here, definitely. I can definitely tick him off the register. And then we have Uncle Warren. Hello, Uncle Warren.
Hello. Hello, everyone. This is like a audio edition of Celebrity Squares.
Yeah.
Hello, Meg.
Does that make you Willie Rushton?
Are you in the middle?
Are you in the middle? Wait.
No, there's a mystery in the middle. I think we should have a mystery in the middle.
Well, that might be the person who's yet to turn up, but we just haven't heard from him yet.
I haven't got the beard to be Willie Rushton. I can be the old square himself, if you like. That's my wardrobe he wears, anyway.
Let me just make sure he's not messaged me.
Hello, he's just driven by.
Apparently, Willie Rushton's last words to Barry Cryer were, tell Bazzer he's too old to do panto. Words about Barry Cryer, not to Barry Cryer.
Oh, right. Okay.
Tell Bazzer he's too old to do panto, apparently. Yeah. Not quite Kiss Me Hardy, is it?
Our mystery guest is waiting for us. But before I bring him on board, we haven't introduced Mr. Andrew Trowbridge and Miss Lisa Parker from the archives. And
Hello.
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 Let me see if I can get our 6th and final guest.
Put some money in the slot.
The 6th and final piece of the key to time.
Why didn't it show up? I think it would know who I was going to be inviting. No, don't want to share a link. I want to. Oh, yeah. I want there. Right.
I have to say, whilst Paul's fiddling here, I sort of said to Paul, "Oh, you can have my old hard drive," because I bought a new hard drive. It's a Wizzo sort of jolly thing, and I said, "Oh, you can have my old one." And I was busy transferring it. I went off to the pub, came back again, and my poor laptop had sort of fainted, and it hasn't spoken to me since. I think it was kind of overwhelmed by the sort of giants talking to each other. So I'm kind of doing a workaround for that.
Nicholas, you've been to a public hostelry.
Hello, Martin.
Saturday lunch.
Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Yes, our 6th and final guest is Mr. Martin Holmes. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We've beamed you up. How are you?
Sorry, what? Oh, me? I'm fine.
Yes. How are you doing?
So I'm just not used to people asking. No, I'm fine. Thank you.
We've just done our we have apologies from Mr. Toppy Smelly due to family problems. So I think we're now fully stocked. Does
that put Martin in the middle then?
Oh yes, he's our mystery.
We are Martin. We are Paul's 6.
It now makes you the family pack.
Of what though?
That's a very good question. Very good question. Oh, it's a great life on the buses. Whatever, what the time of day.
We should just let you know who's here, Martin. You probably guessed. We've got Nick, we've got Lisa,
I know these
Andrew,
voices.
and Warren.
Yes.
And me. Yes.
Same old faces going round the houses once again.
Yeah.
How are we all?
Not too bad.
Pretty good. It's a bit warm.
Sarah's day.
Yeah, we're okay.
Mm-hmm. And Warren's free at last.
I was just saying, it's 4 squares. Make us look like we're from like the cartoon version of Laurel and Hardy.
Oh no! No, stop it now!
You have squares?
Well, on our Skype thing, we're all in 4 squares. We're top left, and you're bottom right, and it just makes us look like we're the title sequence to the Laurel and Hardy cartoon. So I expect Warren to come sideways, pushing one of those up-downy things you get on railways.
Oh,
I love your technical grasping of equipment from the railway. One of those up-downy things.
You knew what I meant.
I did.
So I have a very little list of things for us to discuss, and one of them that hasn't gone very well, which we won't do. I thought sometimes I present you with facts about things, and I thought, well, what summer facts do I have? And the thing that came top of my list was 10 new prison facts from the summer 2023. I don't think we want really. I don't.
Factors, Paul. Factors.
I'm not sure we want.
I want to be fact.
Do you want some facts about prisons?
I do. I mean, you never know when I might need them.
Apparently, there are 10,700 less prison places since 2010.
So it's become like a network sale or the post network thing. It's like there's less places, so more people want them.
Yeah.
Are they bidding for them? Is it like that Not the 9 o'clock news sketch of the NHS bidding for beds?
I won this 6x4, or was it 6x8 or whatever it is now? Yeah.
I was hoping for something more summary. I think we've probably got other things we can discuss. Actually, one of the things I wanted. Well, I know Warren had a question for Toppy, but I don't know whether you want to. I've got the answer, so.
I can't remember what the question was.
Warren asked me when we were playing Fortnite why American phone numbers begin with 555.
Oh yeah, because when you have all these American dramas, they all start saying, "Well, what's your telephone number?" And it always starts 555.
That's because the world is full of idiots. The world is full of idiots who basically see a number on the screen and decide to dial it, and so they had to use a code that wasn't actually being used anywhere, and that's what the 555, which is
the answer. Yeah, that is why, Warren.
All right, well, thanks for playing. I'm off now then. Thanks. My life's complete
Is that
now.
the game? Sorry.
No. It's just Warren wasn't sure, and I had to Google it, and we were going to ask Toppy and see whether but it means he'd have to wait for another month or more. So
well, and Toppy
that is the
immediately
reason.
dialed the number.
Yeah, you've been sitting there dialing them. I have something else I want to discuss, but I'm going to ask you all to if you have anything you want to discuss.
Put your hands up so you can see us.
Because I've been doing research for top secret research for Vision on Sound episodes and actually watching stuff.
The secret number is 555-555-555-555.
I kind of
write that down.
I came across some the name of an actress who was in one of the things I was watching, and looked to see what else she'd been in, and realised that she'd been in like virtually every episode or an episode of almost every cult TV series ever existent. But I was going to tell you a little bit about the actress Anne Francis, who is originally, she was originally known for Forbidden Planet in 1956. That was her first role. But I happened to see her in an episode of The Invaders, because I became aware that there were actually quite a lot of quite famous people who appeared in The Invaders. I was watching an episode the other night with Gene Hackman, and I was thinking, was Gene Hackman appearing in TV? And I thought he was like movies by that time. But
he turns up in a few of the Twilight or the other Outer Limits. I think he turns up in one of those.
A bit before what's it called, Bonnie and Clyde, isn't it? So, which is what was his breakthrough, I think, wasn't it?
Well, Anne Francis was on shows like, as she got to the stage. I was working backwards down her career, back to the start.
It always ends well that way.
I was even playing a game where I was like, okay, so maybe she was in an episode of Mission Impossible. Oh, yeah, she was. And I was almost trying to.
She did a Murder, She Wrote as well, I think.
Oh yeah.
Was she waving?
She wrote.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. She was in things like Rawhide in the 50s.
Third cow from the left.
Dr. Kildare in 1961. Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I mean, I'm skipping lots. She was in
Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Everybody knows it.
Yes. Here we are. She was in 2 Twilight Zones in 60 and 63. That's 63. That's.
They went back for more.
The last season. She was in Ben Casey. She was in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. She was even in Alfred Hitchcock. She was in Anne Hitchcock. She was in Alfred Hitchcock's Hour 3 times.
Wow, 3 hours with Alfred.
She was in Burke's Law. Now,
he used to drive around in a Rolls Royce, didn't he?
It's a bit like Coleslaw, but different.
Well, Burke's Law was a little bit quirky. I remember seeing an episode with some Venus flytraps, and they actually had puppeteers doing the Venus flytraps. And I didn't see. I think it's one of those shows that might have been on late night TV, and I saw 1 or 2 episodes. I think it's probably a lot more quirky and weird than.
Dippy painted green with some scary.
There's one of those in an early Star Trek where there's a plant in, I think it's in the horticultural area, and it's a hand. It's a hand covered in plastic wrap.
That's when No Man Goes Before, isn't it?
It's very early, yeah. But it's just supposed to be an exotic alien plant. It's got 5 fingers, 4 fingers and a thumb.
Mr. Sulu's exotic plants, wasn't
turned
it?
up on the Addams Family.
There was a show in America in 1965, 66 called Honey West. And Anne Francis played Honey West. I've seen a few of those. They've been on
Talking Cobblers.
Did we not get you the DVD of that? Honey West?
Yeah, you did. I will certainly have it. Yeah, I can't remember.
I prefer to watch it on the television.
Honey West is.
You just realised, Paul, you've admitted that you don't actually watch a present somebody's bought for you. That's digging the biggest hole.
I don't think any of us have watched all the presents.
Well, I have, because nobody's ever bought me anything, so that's good.
I think we have. I think
I
many of
can
us have.
safely say I have.
Well, no, but I think that a lot of us have the problem where we have lots of box sets we've not finished yet.
We'll start.
But
I still
Nick,
remember.
I sent you a thought in 1988. Can I have it back, please?
Yeah.
Because I've run out of them.
Unused and unwanted.
But I never forgotten, Warren. You got me the box set with Invasion of the Dinosaurs and Android Invasion when I was in a bit of a spot. And so most kind.
Can't remember that, but
oh well. Thank you anyway.
But that's
I could say you are rubbish, couldn't I? Really?
So he shall.
Dinosaurs.
So I did know Anne Francis in Honey West. Honey West was a little bit Avengery, and in fact, when I looked into Honey West, which I think was a spin-off of Burke's Law, or I think she may have appeared as Honey West in an episode of Burke's Law, it actually said that Honey West only ran for one season because they looked at the Avengers and thought, we'll just buy the Avengers rather than make our own show. And that's how, because they decided to get rid of Honey West, that's how the Avengers made its appearance in America. So I didn't know that.
The Honey West connection. There we go.
She was the first thing she did after Honey West was an episode of The Fugitive, and the thing she did after The Fugitive was The Invaders, which in 1967 or The Fugitive must have Fugitive and the first series of The Invaders must have overlapped because.
Well, possibly not. The Fugitive's from about 64, isn't it? And so 64, 68. Yeah, the first colour season. Fugitive. Yeah.
I'm BD my wrong. It just says that the Fugitive 67 and The Invaders 67, and I know she's in a season 2 episode of The Invaders. But
it's that. I mean, because The Invaders is colour all the way through. So
yeah.
So
I would have said that The Invaders sort of replaced it, but she's in Funny Girl. She's in a 1969 episode of Mission Impossible. In The Virginian. She's in
BBC2, The Virginian.
Da 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 da.
She's in 2 episodes of Columbo.
Spooky.
Lisa, how's your Columbo?
It's just sitting and looking at me at the moment. We haven't. I have opened it.
You were cross because all the discs were in the wrong order.
Yeah, whoever was in, they were going right to left. I'm going, who's got this in here?
Was it second hand?
You took all the discs out and arranged them in the correct order.
Right.
You have 30 seconds from now.
Was it a second-hand copy?
It was.
So it's actually been watched. That's the thing. I keep buying second-hand copies that come in the cellophane. I think this was a present nobody wanted. Hold on a minute.
It was very reasonable, and it
was reasonable.
It was actually it was very cheap, really. But
argue.
I said to Mr. T, were they feeding them through the letterbox, and all you could hear this voice of the delivery boy going, "And just one more thing, and just one more thing."
I've got an accidental episode based around Columbo in a few weeks, so that's quite fun.
Accidental.
Yeah,
you have a Boss incident.
No, it was. I think we were going to talk about something else, and then we didn't. We were going to touch on it in passing, and we ended up talking about it for an hour. So I thought, well, that's the show then. So that's all right.
Just briefly to run through a few more of the shows she was in. I mean, it'd be interesting to compare some of these. How many of these different actors and actresses of this time? How many of the show? Who is the actor or actress or actor, whatever, who appeared in the most sort of cult TV shows in that sort of period? But she was in Banachek. She was in Ironside twice. She was in Kung Fu. She was in Edoe Queen, Barnaby Jones twice. Petrocelli.
Petrochemicals, that's a good series.
I should better pronounce that as I've been watching.
Shelley, don't you put that on your salad or something?
She was in Wonder Woman. Policewoman. She was in Police Woman.
Nick's got all of the quiver for the mention of Wonder Woman.
She was in Police Woman twice. Hawaii 5-0. Gosh, that's a late episode of that. Vegas.
I better get a watch.
Quincy. The Littlest Hobo. Charlie's Angels twice. Dallas. 4 episodes of Dallas. Fantasy Island 3 times. Chips.
Oh, a lot of fantasy.
Simon and Simon, Riptide, The Love Boat, Hardcastle and McCormick. Don't know.
Did she do a Dukes of Hazzard though? That's the question.
I don't think she did. She did Jake and the Fat Man.
Jake and the Fat Man. Now there's a blast.
Matlock, The Golden Girls. She did 1. Murder She Wrote. She did 3 times. Oh well, and she even did Burke's Law. Like it must be a 90s revival of Burke's Law.
Burke's back.
But yes, she died in 2011, I think, aged 80. But
I just born the same year as my mum.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're doing one bit of research for one podcast, and you think, I just wonder don't I recognise that face? And then you discover, oh yes.
I thought
wonder what I recognise her from. Oh, probably any of these, like about 10 different shows.
I thought of you recently, Paul, because I was watching Raise the Titanic, and an actor appeared in Raise the Titanic, David Selby, and he's most famous
for Dark Shadows.
For Dark Shadows, which
although I think isn't he one of those Knots Landing, or one of those? He's known in the 80s. He was known for another soap, but yes, he was known as Quentin in Dark Shadows in the late 60s and 70s.
Apparently he did the voiceover at the beginning of a lot of episodes. I don't know whether that was true or not, but I just thought, oh, crikey. I never thought I'd seen anybody who had actually been in Dark Shadows in a movie.
Oh, well, I saw, as part of my research for an episode of Vision on Sound we were going to be recording, I saw an actress outside of a Dark Shadows actress outside of her comfort. She's been allowed to
escape. The daylight.
She's allowed to escape into another cult TV show. Nick, I was going to ask around any things that you wanted to bring up, but I know Nick has something he wants to.
Well, there's a few things. As I say, for the firstly, it's 30 years at the end of this month that we embarked on our first film together, Prison in the Sun. Sutton Park Prison in the Sun, and the first time Mr. T and Lisa worked together and met. Was it the first time you met? I think.
Indeed.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Yes.
You didn't really come for the comic marts.
I didn't go to comic marts. No. No, that involved daylight.
But yes, it's the first time you were seen together as a team.
Ooh. I was married to Lisa.
You were, yes.
You
were playing the oldest members of the cast, and you were the youngest members of the cast.
Yeah. We've still got that blanket, the multicoloured blanket.
Oh, yes.
It's on the bed at the moment.
The cats love it.
But after all these years,
that blanket is still going. Well, it's got a couple of holes in the corner.
No, Martha loved it because she clods on it.
She stands up there.
Yeah.
So yes, 30 years of Andrew and Lisa this month. In a sort of broadly speaking, But I'm lucky enough to have a little bit of a back pay at work, and with the demise of poor old network, my missus and I scooped up Special Branch and Public Eye. And also the Michael Seeley's book on Douglas Campfield.
That's a different version of Public Eye than I've got.
Yeah, that's the brand new one that's come out. Yeah,
so it's got a plastic.
It must have been the last thing Network did before they went bust.
Yeah,
but I went to
grey-looking one.
Yeah. Oh, well, you probably got a box called Frank, which was the previous release. But yeah, we watched a bit of Special Branch on the. We're talking pictures, and it got better and better as it went on, and until it was a sort of quasi Sweeney. So that was fun.
I saw some episodes. I don't really have TV anymore, but I did I saw some special branch on.
Yes, and I hit 20 years married. It's all happening in July. You know, we've got, as I say, anniversaries galore.
Facebook reminded me it was 7 years since I did my last poetry gig, which Nick and Ali attended, and which just about fitted onto the very beginning of the podcast. It was like episode 2 or 3, or so I'm kind of glad that. I mean, I did have people videoing a lot of the shows I did at the Poetry Cafe. I don't know that anyone videoed that one, but we did audio it, so I'm glad that it's preserved.
Bang up to date. I think last month I finished the script for a panto we're doing at the pub. I've been asked to come up with the panto at the pub. It's only the second pantomime I've written, and it's me and the landlord will be sort of putting the production together.
Who's that? It says like, well, what am I going to do?
No, it's not one of your relatives. He doesn't even sound like that. I don't know why.
I'm going to make a cup of tea. Right, Yeti Uncle John. Mr. T,
I noticed Yeti Uncle John didn't offer to make anybody else a cup of tea as usual.
Well, he has done that before, but it's a bit pointless.
We do it all with him again.
Each time he's posted it to everyone, it's gone cold. That you think that you could use the internet for tea delivery. That seems to be something they've forgotten to do when they've invented the internet. But
I'm also desperately trying to find a new phone. No sales assistant in Salisbury wants to be remotely helpful when it comes to phones. So I'm still looking.
Mr. T, I was reliably informed that you had something to tell us. I can't remember about that.
No, it was partly inspired by your and Toppy question about the Dalek films.
Oh, yeah.
You were saying, why was the second Dalek film much less commercially successful than the first one, although it's arguably a better film?
Yeah.
And I've got William Hartnell's ratings in my lap.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll pardon the expression.
I never knew he was a sailor. There we go.
Oh, very good.
And the answer's quite simple, actually. It's the difference between Doctor Who's popularity in 1965 and in 1966, which is considerable. 1965, season 2, sees stories like The Web Planet hitting 12 million viewers, would you believe? Whereas 1966...
Where does it hit them?
Yeah, The Savages gets down to under 5 million. So
that's why they threw it away.
If the TV show is acting as like, a commercial for the film, basically almost 3 times as many people are watching the show in 65 at one point than are watching it in 66, which is quite shocking.
I can only base Beatles, but I'm not quite sure what they did. But Beatlemania overtook Dalek Mania.
I still think Evil of the Daleks would have made a much, much better, juicier film than either of those two. You would have dark corridors and hamrests.
Wanted to do that, didn't he?
Yeah.
I remember where he said, we should have done Evil as a film. But I guess by that point, nobody was interested in...
No.
It should have done some Thackeray.
Yeah. I mean, people have speculated about the chase, how the chase might have worked as a film, with like guest appearances by Christopher Lee as Dracula.
Much the same as it did on the telly, a total mess.
and Jim Dale as well.
Yeah.
Possibly.
As what?
As Morton Dill.
Or Stephen or something. I don't know.
My gosh.
I don't know.
Did he have to throw down the corridor on a trolley?
Yeah, that's how he escapes them.
Yeah. But you could have still had Marius Goring in Evil because he was a film actor anyway.
He'd be hanging around on sets anyway. So,
well, the thing you said, Nick, about Special Branch.
Yeah.
Was it you, Warren? Talked to somebody who'd worked on Special Branch. Was it a cameraman or something?
Yes, it's a cameraman. He was filming some stock footage of me in my police uniform many years ago. He'd also worked on Rainbow. He was a cameraman for Thames.
And he didn't think much of the last season, is that right?
I can't really repeat the words he used because you might have to bleep them out. But he was none too impressed by it. No,
I thought the last season was the best. Actually, I thought that somebody really put a rocket up it in the last 2 seasons.
It was very much a precursor to sort of the Sweeney, the last season.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, any show that could get away with Tony Beckley as was a drag queen assassin.
Oh gosh, yeah. I have to say that is his lover's Sheardy, isn't it?
Jackie Pierce, yes. Yes, and Sheard, yeah.
Yeah,
so he's bisexual.
I'm going to have to watch that now. We've not got that far, have we? We watched up to the end of the Darren Nesbitt stuff and then went, I don't know if I fancy the look of the next one. So, because they do that.
Shakes fist at screen.
They do that with Euston Films with Van der Valk.
Yeah, because I can never get on with the last season of Van der Valk.
The last season of the 70s Van der Valk. In one of the episodes, there's just a car chase, and they crash through boxes for no reason. I'm like, it's like this is like a precursor of the Sweeney.
But it was definitely that third season was definitely influenced by the Sweeney.
But it doesn't fit with the other two at all, really, does it? It's it's on film for
I get confused when they go inside a house and it's on film. I'm going, no, the inside of a house should be on videotape. They filmed it in a different place. It's wrong.
I want to pick up a delicate subject. I think it's delicate, but it doesn't mean I don't want to slag off. I don't want to slag off any particular shows, but I just wondered if anyone else noticed this or had this similar opinion. I find that watching shows, say watching like the original Creatures Great and Small, or watching Miss Marple, or things that are set in the past that were made in the 80s, I watch that and I don't have any problem believing in the period costume but if I watch anything that's set in the past, by now, like made now, whether it be Downton Abbey or any of those sorts of shows, I watch it and I think these are actors dressed up in fancy dress. It doesn't. I don't know whether it's the picture quality or the style of acting.
It's the acting.
Yeah. I just don't believe in it. I know
Lisa loves. I have that gripe. I genuinely have that gripe as well.
Yeah,
I just cannot get my head around it. Cannot get my head around it for some reason.
I know Lisa likes kind of Creole Creatures, but every time I see the trailer, to me it looks so different. I just can't believe it in it.
The new All Creatures Great and Small is lovely, and Sam West is a fantastic Siegfried. He's arguably better than Robert Hardy.
People get on with him then.
Well, yeah, he's nice. He doesn't people off. So, no, I love it. But I can see where you're coming from, because I think it's the picture quality. It's so crisp that you can.
I mean, I like Father Brown, but again, that's a very picture perfect postcard version of 1950s. But I do like that, but I don't. But there's definitely a difference between period stuff made now than there was. When I don't have that feeling with Miss Marple or.
Because all the stuff in the 80s is made on video, so it looks softer anyway.
HD cameras, yeah.
It's different, isn't it? So
there's a lot of factors, because it's the difference. I mean, I've always said that my sweet spot is that you do the outside stuff on film and the inside stuff on videotape. But as I always say, real life looks like videotape to me. Real life doesn't look like film.
Yeah,
but,
I would point out, if anybody's got the RTV Jack the Ripper, the Michael Caine, watch the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Because the scene with Barry Foster, there's a scene with him and I think it's George Sweeney.
Yeah.
And he's talking to him and they're in a room, and it's like you're in the room with them. It's one of the most intense things I've actually ever seen, which you don't get in the film, in the broadcast version, because it's on film, and it looks too
glossy,
and
overlit, doesn't it? The film was very overlit.
So, and I'm sorry,
people know that.
Ken Bowes, he stood in the road for too long waiting for that carriage to...
Going, go, run over,
slowly and still not get run over by the carriage.
It's like being run over by Dixon in the car chase.
So, yeah.
Oh, well,
I found that with Marty Hopkirk. We're rewatching Randall Hopkirk at the moment.
Oh, yeah, he stands there.
He stands there flaring his arms. Get out of the bloody way.
It was just a bit about two detectives.
Can anyone tell me, is it, with Randall...
34 seconds he stood there.
Sorry. The title...
He really hated his wife.
They have two title sequences, don't they? One in sort of flashback with lots of hands and arty stuff, and one where it explains the plot. I'm just wondering if that one was in for the overseas sales. I
feel like it was. I feel like on one of my earlier versions of that set.
Yes.
When they were.
And you can see me, Jeff.
Yeah, I feel like it was made for the American.
Was it called My Partner the Ghost or something?
Yeah.
Just to really explain it in case they don't.
My partner wears the syrup.
There's that different Tara King's. There's that different Tara King title sequence where, in like the orange background studio before they did the running down the wall. I think that was only used on certain prints as well. But maybe that was an America thing too. Warren, is it okay to ask you about the return of the sausage?
No. Moving on.
Have you downloaded it yet, Warren?
Shut up.
He said, I've got a thing here saying that this person has not downloaded their file.
Oh, you didn't tell me you'd sent it.
Oh, right, okay.
All right.
Same day.
I'll do it while we're talking.
But you did. No, I just wondered. It just said it was about to expire, like my career.
Hold on. I'm going in there as we speak. Yes, the sausage has returned. It's been sizzling on the hob, although we did discuss several ways in which we could cook it, didn't we, Martin? Lisa's been telling us about her passion for big, snappy, teethy creatures that bite a lot and chase you, and lovely
Andrew.
And
you had it in you.
Oh yeah.
I'm a dinosaur.
Oh God.
Has it been unleashed upon the world yet, or is it about to be unleashed?
It's been unleashed. It's out.
Oh.
It is out.
This is the snappy jaw one.
Yeah, and I've recently.
I was going to say, are we big in any countries?
Let's have a look. He likes doing this.
I love your...
No accent.
Don't do accents.
No, I can't. I physically have to think as I do this that I won't do accents.
That's a good one.
The answer to your question is yes, you are big in other countries.
That's nice.
Here we go. United Kingdom, United States, yeah. The Germanic states of Germany, Austria, Canada, Ireland, yeah. You want bizarre ones? Uzbekistan, you're big in.
Really?
Miramar is Venezuela. Strangely, the Russian state of Georgia, you're big in as well. And hot off the press.
Yes.
Lisa is big in the United Arab Emirates. There will be big hoardings of you.
I think they allow pictures of ladies and not literally covered up anyway.
Yeah, I'll have to put a sheet over you.
Yeah. Like what's apocalypse?
No, I was thinking of how to make babies by doing dirty things.
All right, okay.
That Goodies film where they've got Tim Taylor covered over from head to foot.
Oh gosh, okay.
And he gives the lady
dairy cart horse.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've just finished recording, quite literally in the last few days, finished recording the second one. second sausage.
Well, let me know if you
Sausage
need more
2.
filling for your sausage.
Well, Mr. Goodman, you're always welcome to come in and slip in your sausage at any time.
Excellent.
And I think
That's a commission. That's a commission, by the way.
Ooh, I need to think of what to do now.
I think Uncle Warren and I know what we're going to record an episode, aren't we? But
we are. Joan Collins, spare her blushes because I know she listens.
Yes, of course.
I've downloaded you now, Martin.
And Martin, do you have anything to declare, or do you want to tell us about Vision on Sound?
Oh, you haven't finised yet.
I'm
He
sorry.
hasn't finished yet. Sausage 2. This time it's sausage, yeah.
The sausage, the banger's revenge. And I'm happy because I managed
Double
to go
sausage.
to Salisbury the other week without visiting Mossbros. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, me? I'm here too. I'm still here. Come and see me.
I'll come and see you. I'll come and tickle your fancy, Nick.
Yeah. I'll come fill your sausage.
Oh.
We're going to have to have a cold shower in a minute. Martin, how's Vision on Sound? And do you have anything else to declare?
Oh God, I probably have, yes. Yeah, I you know, the funny thing about this thing is that I literally cannot remember when I've finished editing. I send it, upload it, and it's like it's gone from the memory. It's gone. And I don't know a thing about it until it appears again. And it's waggling the ears of whoever listens to it. And yeah, it's ticking along. I think we've got a few in the bank because summer season's coming and it's very difficult to get hold of people.
Are you doing the road show? Are you doing the Vision on Sound road show?
Well, we are going on the road again.
Yeah.
But no, it's just that thing where, you know, summer comes, you just can't be asked. But because I've got a few things taped and in the bank, it's fine. It'll tick along in its own inimitable way.
How some of my back archives of recorded stuff, things come out in a very weird order, just to try and vary the.
I shall go and see if I can find the file. It's probably easiest, and it will prompt my fading memory. Where are we? Vision on. Oh God, what's that? Vision on what? Oh yeah. Oh God, bloody hell, he's done a lot of them, hasn't he? Where were we up to last week? Where were we?
Cheese last week. Smorgasbord.
Did everybody like the cheese? Did they have fun with the cheese?
Yeah.
What we grumpy enough for you, Lisa?
You are grumpy at all. You're letting yourself down.
Hang around, it gets better.
TV cheese. I've been enjoying TV cheese this last couple of months, to be fair. Last week, I even watched an episode of two things. I watched an episode of The $6 Billion Man, which was crap. And Charlie's Angels, which was worse. Really, Charlie? I got teeth. Anyway, so yeah, no.
I really wondered what he was going to say there.
A couple of weeks ago, I've already mentioned this to Warren. I did watch the Dukes of Hazzard pilot. The Dukes of Hazzard pilot is wonderful in the sense it has the Starsky and Hutch car in it after they've knackered it. Obviously, boom, Starsky and Hutch.
Where it stays shut. They keep swinging open during the scene.
It's in the they have a car chase around a used car.
Never mind.
Sorry, what? I can't actually. You keep cutting out on me, so I can't hear a word you're saying.
I said pilot episode joke.
Oh yes, the pilot. It is a pilot. Yeah.
Swingy doors. Never mind.
Oh right, okay. So there's that. Yeah. And I watched the pilot of Knight Rider. That brought a hush to the.
Well, I'm glad you've been tackling the 80s because.
Yeah, Knight Rider. The pilot was really weird. It's just because I never knew that David Hasselhoff was a previous actor and had his face changed.
Oh.
in the pilot. He was killed or shot in the pilot, and they did plastic surgery, and he woke up looking like David Hasselhoff. Hurrah! And then he had a beach career, and he went running in slow-mo on the beach at 60 miles an hour. No, that was
back to the Bionic Man now.
Well, precisely. It's all very confusing. Let me see what we got coming up. We've got the Twilight Zone, a couple of days, which will probably be months ago by the time this goes out. We've got my Canadian friend on again in a couple of weeks. We may have Andrew Mark Thompson talking about his new book, depending on when I can slot it in, as the sausage might say. We got Paul talking about the Avengers. Paul's always talking about the Avengers. A new voice who talks about Columbo. And you two talking about Crossroads as well. Yeah, which I'll have to check the edit in case you go on about. And you can buy it from Network. You can't. No, but I think you'd already sold out by the time you recorded that. So. Yeah.
I could overdub the word "could" for you. Hang on.
Shoulda. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Yes.
Jess Conrad popped up in the Crossroads we were watching last night, didn't he? You're looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about. Jess Conrad
turned up in Crossroads. Yes.
His acting wasn't bad, actually. I was quite surprised because normally he's very cheesy. But yeah.
Lots of jaw and lots of teeth. He would have made a good book, Rogers, really.
He was giving Tony Steedman side-eye, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And Ronnie Allen was sat in the middle looking uncomfortable.
Did Ronnie Allen sort of skate on as he usually does? He doesn't walk, he hovers.
No, they were all sat down. Because
they were having the coroner's inquest.
It was an inquest.
Yeah. Is it a segue? Just...
Hello,
I'm here.
That's just his walk. That's how he walks. So.
Where was it? You said they held
to buy the motel.
He's the John LeMage of Crossroads.
Where was it? Lisa, you said they were holding
in the village hall.
The coroner's inquest in the village hall.
Yeah, better than a pub, I guess.
Yeah,
because they used to hold inquests in Victorian times. They would hold inquests in the local pub because it was probably the place that was big enough to do it. So, yeah.
Inquest in the pub, I know, it's really serious.
Uncle John has passed me something.
Swanee whistle.
It's not a three-legged stool, is it?
No, he's pointed out it's the time of the episode where we have to do some would you rather questions.
Can I just before we do that? Can I just quickly say the other thing that's happened recently is, according to YouTube, I have a RPS stalker.
Pardon?
Somebody who's a Doctor Who fans discovered, come across one of our old Ray-Face shifts and didn't know what it was about. Contacted me and said, "Are you the same Nick?" Yes. And then, right. I've digitalised you. I'm going through and digitalising the ones I can find. I said, they've already been done. They'll be available soon on download when Alan Hayes and I do the book. I have a little enthusiastic who thinks he's dug me up. It's nice to be discovered.
It's nice to be disinterred, really, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What were you doing being buried underground anyway? What's going on there?
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I could. Did all your friends sort of? Yeah, shall we do that? Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah.
John, do you get sponsored by this? Would you rather site? I can't possibly comment, Paul. All right. Well, the first one we have is, would you rather only be able to drink coffee or never be able to drink it again? That's a big question.
So that's just coffee, is it, Paul?
Yeah.
So nothing else?
Nothing else.
So that would be boring, wouldn't it?
I know the answer to that from my point of view.
From your point of view, it would be never again.
I almost never drink coffee anyway, having been put off it at an early age when I got given a cup of it at the Village Flower Show and it had skin on it.
Yeah, I don't know why you should not have skin on it.
Milky skin, human skin on my coffee. So once I'd picked the skin off, I was already put off coffee, so I've never been able to...
This is going to sound really weird. I think that's a 70s thing. I don't think you get skin on coffee these days.
No.
The coffee my parents made in the 70s certainly had skin.
Was it camp?
Oh,
was it camp coffee?
Yeah, because we use full fat milk, and I've never had skin on my coffee.
Yeah.
So
must be a country thing.
Yeah.
Hey listeners, the editor speaking. It was difficult to edit this bit of the episode because everyone was talking at once, and I did have kind of the answer to skin on coffee, but I don't think anyone really heard. I never really got to say my full piece. I kind of know why coffee gets skin on it, and it's not simply that you're using full fat milk to whiten the coffee. So like making coffee with water and then putting milk in. The coffee that I know of where you got skin on it was when people made the coffee completely with milk, with no water at all. Because when I used to go to my great aunt's house, she would make coffee, but she'd boil milk in a pan and make the coffee, and it was very nice. But if it was full fat and it was hot, then the milk would get a skin on it. Perhaps coffee was generally made more with full milk, completely with milk, back in the 70s and 80s, whereas now people would boil a kettle and maybe put a drop of milk in if they want. But anyway, that's just my theory, but I'm the editor, so I get to freeze things and say my piece. Okay, we can continue now. So Mr. T's not bothered. Lisa, what do you decide?
Oh, see, it's difficult because I like coffee, but I wouldn't want to drink it all the time. So I'm going to have to say never drink it then, because I don't want to be just stuck with coffee. I'd never sleep.
I like coffee a lot, and I can drink it any time of the day. It doesn't keep me awake, which I still don't know why that is. But it's not very refreshing coffee. It's nice, not like a cup of tea is refreshing. So I think I'd have to never drink it again, I'm afraid, even though I like it a lot.
I think the last time I had coffee was probably about 20 years ago, to be honest.
No, you did. You had someone. We were going to London once, and I had a very weak coffee from. I think it was. I don't know if it was from the refreshments trolley or from the station.
Yeah.
And you had some of that because it was barely coffee at all.
It was barely coffee. It was like diet coffee.
It was water with a tiny bit of coffee in.
All right. Okay.
So it was more
I don't remember
hot
that.
water.
Okay.
Yeah, it was only a tip.
It was coffee-esque.
Yes.
All right.
What about you, Warren and Martin and Nick?
One at a time, please.
Coffee.
I just thought that sounded like it's one of those terrible conversations you hear with sort of older people, isn't it? You know, oh, I haven't had coffee in 20 years. You had one this morning, did I? Sorry, just
but you've got to make a decision because the coffee deciding man is.
Who is this person? The mentality of these people.
I believe it's Gordon, the Crypt Keeper. It's his new job.
Hello, Mr. Yeti. I've been touching my coffee urn, but it has turned into liquid metal, and it has run away down the drains.
I'm investing in coffee beans. I hope the share prices don't drop. Well, who knows, Uncle John? Come on. You got to decide, coffee or no coffee ever again?
No coffee ever again. I can't stand coffee.
Oh, well, that's right then. Martin, coffee or never again?
Ooh, difficult. I do like my coffee. It's just that
I like coffee. I like tea. A cup.
I mean, I've always said I could probably give up booze and not have a problem with that. So but I do like a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of difficult to think never ever again have anything else and only have coffee. I think actually I'd just have coffee liqueurs all the time, and then have the rest. Yeah.
And Nick,
liqueurs, madam. Sorry, what? No, pardon.
The thing is, because of this sort of very spiteful coffee overlord that has made this rule, I think I'd have to give it up because I'd be wired. My nervous system hates me anyway. But with this, I kind of I'll be peeling off this
I
evening.
don't know.
I'm getting headaches and goodness knows
There'll be
what.
some-
But, yeah, I like coffee, but I could probably live without it. But
I need to find out why coffee doesn't keep me awake. There must be something about it on Google. So, Mr. T, you're a scientist. Why aren't I kept awake by coffee?
I think you must have a special gland.
Ooh, probably.
It's got a special brain. Oh, yes.
A special gland. Do you want to see?
That might be just a rumour.
I've got it in a jar here.
What about this one? This next one on the list is.
You got a special gland as well.
We can't talk about that. Would you rather not have knees or not have elbows? Come on, this is a question of the moment. No knees or no elbows.
No knees.
Well, at my age, I don't think it makes any difference anymore.
Yeah, I don't
I mean, you just got legs that don't bend. A bit like a wooden top or something.
Both mine give me trouble with my rheumatism. So
You'd end up like the Tin Man.
You'd end up like what?
The Tin Man.
The Tin Man?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
So you've still got feet.
Does he not have knees?
I don't think his knees
got
bend.
feet, just haven't got
Well, Aunt
knees.
Sally's legs don't bend, do they? Because you often see her with her legs apart up in the air. In Wurzel Gummidge.
Difficult with not having elbows. I'm not sure.
Well, I couldn't draw without my elbows. So.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to say knees because I think you could get away without legs that bend.
I think it would be harder to drive with no elbows.
Yeah.
I couldn't write without my elbows, so yeah, I'd pour them. Bye knees. Sorry.
I think you could do a keyboard at a distance at a pinch.
Could record a podcast, but could I edit it? It would all go out with all the.
You just have to have a bigger desk.
Ums and ers.
I think that wet wells and sort of bye everybody.
Burps, accidental burps would go in. Everything. You don't know how many accidental burps you're saved because I can edit podcasts.
Stairs would be a bugger though, wouldn't they, without knees?
Should live in bungalow.
I couldn't go upstairs, or downstairs if I was already upstairs. I mean, what do? You wake up one day and you're kneeless. I mean, I know that was going into dark places again. I mean, when people used to do the old kneecapping. I mean, it did used to mess up people, didn't it? But I assume they could still bend their legs afterwards in some way or other.
I actually, now you said that, I do remember spending an afternoon thinking about what would happen if your knees bent the other way.
Oh,
like birds.
Grasshopper legs.
Yeah. So if you wanted to sit down on a chair, how would you have to redesign your chair to let your legs in? Because your legs would bend backwards.
The minutes must fly by in your house.
I had
Actually, my colleague sits on a chair completely the wrong way around anyway, so that could probably work.
Well, yeah, you bend your legs to go under a chair anyway, so it wouldn't make any difference, would it?
But not backward.
Would that mean your bottom was on back to front as well?
Well, that's the thing. You start to think about the mechanics of it. Yeah. It's tricky. I do.
I got another one here, which actually I do. Technically, I did do one of these things. No, it's nothing illegal. Would you rather live next to a graveyard or next to a haunted house? Well, my parents live next to a graveyard, so I mean, I don't live there now, but I spend a lot of time living in a house next to a graveyard still. So
where are these
I guess that's my answer. But
where are these questions coming from?
The afterlife.
No, I'm just trying to work out whether this is one of those Americans who believe in zombie apocalypse questions.
So the zombies will make you eat drink.
If you live next to the graveyard, you're going to be first against the wall when the apocalypse comes.
Could be very difficult.
I would say I would rather live next to a graveyard because it's quite interesting walking through the graveyard.
You can go and see all the dates and the names.
Looking at the dates and things. So yeah.
Tom Baker's house used to have a graveyard.
He did. And he had his gravestone. I wonder if his gravestone's still there or if he took it with him when he moved.
I think he took it because
the house he sold to Jim Moore.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah.
Well,
sorry, there we go. A little bit of useless.
I definitely say, yeah, I definitely plumb for a graveyard. They're very, very peaceful places.
And you're going to end up in one eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a feel for it.
Yeah. Go move in next door and see what it's like.
See what the neighbours are like.
See what the neighbours are like.
Dead centre of town, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's quite enough of that.
I've family reunions in a graveyard in Arnhem, but all my family, all my wife's family are buried there.
Do you go? I mean, are you? Because I always think, whenever it's Father's Day, Pip's mum and dad live near a graveyard, and there's always the streets are always full of people going to visit.
Yes.
So visit Dad, and I just find that bizarre in many ways. But then again, we just basically, both Mum and Dad, had them sort of turned to dust and sort of blown on the wind, so we didn't really worry about it. I haven't a clue where, there's no place we can go for that. But I know it's important to some people. But I just wonder, this conversations with a lump of stone, does it work for people?
I don't think I have massive conversations with because it's the last bit where their mortal remains were, so we just go there to remember. But neither of my parents actually wanted to be buried. They wanted to be scattered, but bureaucracy got in the way. And
the thing about that is, you just keep putting the soil on until they stop screaming, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be buried. I don't want to be buried.
But
Victorians used to go and have picnics, didn't they, in graveyards?
We still have the odd, if we're sort of trundling down Harnham, we'll go and see the graves, see if they're decently turned out, which they usually are, I must admit.
I would point out though that Victorians used to have their pictures taken with dead people before they were buried. So before the funeral,
I draw the line at that.
So, and the Duke of Monmouth had to have his head sewn back on so they could paint a portrait of him.
Did they put it on the right way?
And they went, oh, we didn't take a pic. We haven't got a picture. So they sewed his head back on, and somebody painted a portrait incredibly quickly.
I'm just imagining like they did it like CSO, and that somebody had a green costume holding his head on, and they had to paint around the green.
Head to toe in blue.
And he's fuzzy around the edges.
Yeah.
Dear God. Yes, we haven't got Photoshop. We got Portrait Shop. It's a pair of scissors and a bit of canvas.
All I can see is Barry there promoting the uses of CSO. Oh, hello, and as you can see, the severed head.
Harry and Terry's funeral parlour.
Queen! That's the colour of corpses. Queen!
Queen!
Oh, dear. It all went to hell in a little rainbow.
Well, listeners, I think we're running out of time, so...
Tomorrow we're not going yet!
No, we got more of this.
We have extra material coming up, and...
poor creatures.
Well, put these podcasters back in their boxes for a few days.
I don't want to go back in the box.
Pandy's coming. We're all going back in the box.
Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to Martin and Nick and to Lisa and Andrew and Uncle Warren.
Thank you.
And me.
Thank you.
Yes. And the Yeti Uncle John briefly. I didn't get to appear much this time.
Also, Scar, is that a cameo?
I'm not expensive. I'd like to live.
That was a soap, wasn't it?
I get paid by the
special guest star, Yeti Uncle John.
Yeah, he wants a separate billing. He gets the and credit.
I can send him a separate bill. That's not a problem.
And we're going off now to have a cup of coffee before we give it up.
What was that sort of chicory? Wasn't it chicory gloop? That was the replacement.
That's camp.
Outside the line of podcasting, maybe we can keep drinking as much coffee as we like.
Yeah.
And mellow birds. That's pointless.
Thank you very much. Anyway, and we shall be chatterboxing again soon.
If you let us back.
And happy birthday in August to at least 3 members of the Chatterbox team. Actually, 4 members of the Chatterbox team. One of them not being here today. But all right, goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
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 That went pretty well.
Twist. I thought you were going to get a kiss there, but you didn't.
I know he did. I really do sometimes. He likes getting his head like under my chin, like that. I think they say that cats have like their foreheads are very sensitive or something. And
are they?
That's like kissing. If you get the head, that's why they sort of headbutt you sometimes. And things like that.
Oh, the rain's just started here.
Oh, it's got very dark. It's quite dark out there.
I hope it cools it down a bit. The humidity's been. I mean, you remember I was in Thailand earlier in the year. That was just so humid. I'd have things like we'd come out the hotel room, out the air conditioning, and my glasses would be steaming up. And I remember one day we opened the room door, and there was actually condensation on the outside on the wood. It was so humid, but it's been really, really sticky up here the last few days.
We've got 1 minute, so either we can rush to take a bar, or we can just come back and speak for another 5 minutes and end when we choose.
Well, should we do that?
Yeah, we don't want to be.
Right, I'll hang up them.
Yeah, we don't want to be forced to stop just because of the time.
No.
We're not going to let that happen. Back in a minute.
I'll hang up.
Cool. Oh, deals. You can keep lying like that. Be cute. Hello. Deals was being cute. I was trying to get
back.
Good. I'm trying to get. Deals was being very cute and laying his head on my arm, and I said, "Stay like that." So he deliberately stopped doing that.
I was a bit distracted because I was looking out my window at so opposite me there's an apartment block, and one of the neighbours had got their washing out on one of those balcony things where you kind of have it hanging over the balcony, and obviously with the rain starting, it was like loads are going to get soaked. So I was watching them bring it in.
Deals.
I think that went really well.
Yeah, I think that went really well. Also, I don't think you need to have seen the. We're telling listeners about the story, so
I think it's a good setup, and I genuinely think if it was fresh now, it would for both of them. I would want to watch them and kind of find out what happens with them. I've enjoyed watching Sons and Daughters as an adult much more than I did when I was a child. I think maybe I was a bit too young to kind of get what was going on.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe The Young Doctors was more accessible because it was a hospital and you've got people coming and going, and perhaps I understood hospital settings a bit more.
I've just seen in. I can't say too much in case you don't know about some of the things, but we just had an old cast member turning up for a wedding, which is one of the few times where, because Alison thinks that she's rung up Angela and John. Of course, you don't see them, and left them a message kind of going, if you don't turn up, I'm going to be very cross, sort of thing. And then they don't turn up, but this other character does, who is from the early days of the show.
Who is it?
Rob.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it also fits because he's Beryl's brother, and it's around the time that Beryl's getting married again. Do you know who Beryl gets married to?
She marries Gordon. I can't.
I think it's perfect. A lot of people say that, and I'm kind of like, they are very similar types of people. They're both very sweet people, and they're kind to.
I suppose.
I think from that. I mean, he's no stud like David, obviously, but can't all
and
be
for
like
Beryl, if she wants to be the ultimate homemaker, what a home to be doing at him.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I think Wayne's kind of almost a lot of sort of maybe possibly caused that house to have to be sold. So
right.
At the moment, he's going to live with Beryl, but I don't know if that. But we're slowly getting up. There's one more. It must be in the next 4 or 5 episodes. There's a big like who shot JR type cliffhanger. Which I don't think. I think is in the very late 800s. So I'm looking forward to that. And you keep seeing it from different characters' points of view. I remember that's probably the last thing I haven't re-seen. But there was also a plot line I've just seen where 2 of the characters move into this a block of flats, and they're doing pizza deliveries, and they've got a CB radio, and you keep getting this spooky voice going, I want to be your friend, and I'm always looking forward to seeing that one again. And it just shows how the memory can cheat. because when they find out who the person is, that person holds this girl hostage, and my memory was that you almost saw him put his gun to his mouth, and obviously I didn't expect to see the blood coming out of it, but you almost feel like you almost hit, and then sort of heard in fact, you only see it from outside the house, but that just shows how powerful it was at the time that I'd got this false memory of what I'd seen. It shows you don't necessarily need to show everything for it to still have the punch. But
to ask, because it confused me when I watched it, but work out or get told why Colonel Bainbridge and Colonel Wainwright, what was going on there, where they clearly had to redub the characters' names.
All I can think of is that there must have been a real person that complained, a bit like that stuff in Prisoner with
Edna Pearson.
Yeah, played by
Vivian Grey.
Yeah. Because for ages we couldn't. Because the box set was never corrected, was it? I don't think.
No, and in fact, I still think there's some bits missing. And I raised this in the Wentworth forum. I think so. There's a reference when in the first episode when Edna first arrives. There's a reference. Marlene and Bobby say that they've been following her story, which makes me wonder: was there a scene in a previous episode where the TV's on and in Melbourne today, a woman was arrested for poisoning her husband, and they maybe cut that bit out, but because that's in a previous episode, they've not bothered reinstating that. And then apparently in the final episode, there's a bit that they don't. When they re-release the box set, you've kind of got the Edna Pearson episodes discs. The final one, there's a scene of her in it which isn't in that, if that makes sense. I think it's something like episode 471 isn't in the box set on the Edna discs, but there is actually some scenes with her in.
Yeah, I've got when they re-released the supposedly unedited,
and it's actually quite a boring story, isn't it?
Yeah,
I kind of think they could have done a bit more with it. I do really have memories of the barbecue, because that's the bit where it's really butchered, isn't it? Because Edna pokes the stick with is it an oleander plant, and that puts the poison in the steak, and then Rabbit becomes really violently ill, and that is really butchered, isn't it? Because they've cut so much out, and I remember thinking at the time when I saw it, that was a really short episode of Prisoner. It doesn't make sense what went on.
Yeah,
because I think at the same time you've got the scene where Bobby stabs Dennis in the arm with the scissors, and in the flashback at the beginning of the next episode, it's almost like you've got them outside having a barbecue, and Bobby's eating the steak, and then the next thing she's like ramming this pair of scissors in Dennis's arm in the laundry, and you think, what's going on there?
I need to go back and watch from the start again, but it's difficult when, as much as I want to, it's also there's lots of it. I feel like I don't. Am I going to sort of? Maybe I should do a box at a time and not feel I have to constantly watch. Watch it constantly from the start to the end immediately. Because Dark Shadows that I have all on DVD, the American supernatural soap, I kind of like to go back to the start. But in fact, I don't think I've watched half of these sets because I bought them knowing I liked it, but I think I saw a lot of the early episodes on videos I had back in the 90s, and I haven't really watched them since. So I'm always looking for new old stuff. That's the trouble.
Last time we spoke, you were starting to watch. You'd had the DVD. Was it Chances?
Chances, yeah.
Did you stick with that?
I haven't done too well so far because I will. But I think because of the big 50-minute episodes, they're a bit slow, and also I did put a disc in from each set to see. I wanted a bit of a sort of, give me a taster of how weird it's going to get.
Yeah.
I'm just not so keen on the 90s glamoury type. It just doesn't look as good as the 80s stuff. But
it's fun. It's. I was just going to say, what I find quite interesting is my memory. This is where you mentioned about false memory. My memory of like 80s glamour was that it was all shoulder pads and big hair and a bit naff, but actually that is of its time. Some of the 90s stuff is actually a bit more cringy.
Yeah. And I didn't like 80s stuff for a long time. It needed to get old. It needed to get old for me to
for it to have its real vintage charm.
Yeah, I like what I used to. Well, watching horror films, say I used to sort of say I liked up until about 83, and then it just became too 80s for me. Now I can go further because it looks. I'm a bit more at peace with it, but
with 80s.
Yeah.
It's scary how long ago it was, though, isn't it? I mean, I was talking to someone the other day. You think like 30 years ago is a long time ago, but it's actually it's actually the 1990s, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sort of constantly meeting people who are born in the 90s who are sort of in their 30s,
and thinking back to those episodes of Young Doctors that we've just reviewed, 30 years previous for them was actually the war.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that kind of, never mind what are they trying to show empowered women and sexist men. They're 30 years after the war.
I remember because in the 80s I was quite keen on the 60s, and I remember in 1987 there being a book about the Beatles 20 years ago today.
Yeah.
So 1987 was only 20 years, and yet the Beatles seemed miles away.
I think I've got memories of that. There was a documentary that was on ITV about it was 20 years since Sergeant Pepper was released, and I seem to have in my mind that Central kept showing a what would you call it? Like on Thursday night at 8:00, put Central on and watch this, that kind of thing. And it was going to be about the Beatles, and they kept playing that line. It was 20 years ago today.
Because I won some sort of, I found the book recently. I won some English prize at school in 1987, and you're allowed to pick a book as a prize. And
what did you pick?
I picked this book about 20 years ago today, and my English teacher was cross because I think he thought that was a music prize, whereas to me it was the lyrics of the Beatles that I mean, when I wrote all my poems, I didn't think of other poets. I tended to think of song lyrics that were an inspiration rather than. So to me, that was an English prize because they're not just about the music.
You see, the other thing I've thought about recently, watching Prisoner over and over again and getting into Sons and Daughters and, stuff like that, it kind of takes me back to my life, how it was then. But what am I going to have to remember my life later on? Does that make sense? Like in the late 90s and early 2000s? Because I actually can't remember what I was watching back then. I mean, I suppose if I think back to when did Channel 5 start? 97. So I was watching Prisoner again then, but that wasn't the first time I'd seen it. So it's almost like I've got this memory of what my life was like the first time I saw Prisoner in the 80s and stuff, but it's like, how good is the memory later on?
I could probably tell you more about what music I was listening in the noughties because I was still going to places like Pop Stars, and there was also sort of quite a lot of sort of electro pop and stuff I liked, but I couldn't really tell you what programs I was watching in the noughties. But
and then you're kind of into the realms of just being amazed at how quickly the years are flying, and the fact that we're 50 this year, and if you'd said to me we're turning 40 this year, I think I would have just said yeah. To think that it's another decade on from that, it's
I've taken pathetic excitement in the fact that Kylie's new song is in the top 10.
Because
that's not allowed to happen anymore.
I know.
And each week, I haven't been excited about the charts for it. Well, since ABBA got in the top 10 about 2 years ago, when their new songs got in the top 10, and I was like, this isn't supposed to happen these days. It's so ageist.
And actually, is the relevance of the charts to young people like it was for us back in the day?
I doubt it. But also, there's nothing about Kylie's new song that says, "Oh, this is by a 55-year-old singer." It should just be, "Oh, this sounds contemporary, right? Let's put it on." It's ridiculous that it would matter. I think even I heard somebody say that when they did the chart rundown, when it got to her song, they just said it and then moved on. They didn't play it like they do everything else,
right?
Which is it's like, well, how is that anything other than ageism?
Absolutely,
it's bizarre.
Strange, isn't it?
It was very
well. That's been another enjoyable recording with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing to do that one with me, because I kind of guessed. Well, I don't know. I know you've enjoyed doing it as well, but that was really my idea to review those episodes. So
it's a good idea. You just don't know with my show because I do so many different things, and I expect there are people who, some people are a bit sort of, if it's something that is considered a drama, well, that's why calling something a soap opera can be, some people's eyes instantly glaze over when really, there's no difference really between Cop Shop and Zeb Cars or something. I mean, it's probably just that the Cop Shop's probably far more exciting because it's Australian.
I rewatched those first couple of episodes of Cop Shop a few weeks ago, and there's the issue over. Was it quite famously that they said that when they played the first two episodes to ITV, they were like, "There's no way we're showing that in Britain," with the kind of the language about gay people and the pufter bashing, and there was no way that ITV would have shown that. And actually, it is quite. It feels like it's a kind of. I know we've got stuff in Britain like the Sweeney and quite a lot of drama action shows, but Cop Shop seemed to be like a whole different level.
I remember even watching, because one of my other favourite shows is Bergerac, because I love the channel lines anyway, and we always used to watch that. But I remember there being an episode where there were gay characters in that. I mean, we're talking more like the 80s, but watching it and thinking Bergerac isn't sort of, he doesn't go, "Oh, I love the gays," but he's not judgmental about it. And I'm thinking, well, at least that's something that doesn't make this, hard to watch.
Whereas I get a sense that if that was an Australian programme, they would have been more open to having a discussion about maybe having a character challenging. Maybe somebody using some derisory language and someone saying, "Hang on a minute, they're just people. Like, why are you being so obnoxious about them?" And I think Australian shows would have done that maybe more than kind of British ones would.
Well, there's that weird thing where people might love Queen and love Freddie Mercury, but they don't. But then, or I'm not saying now, but like in the 80s, they love Freddie Mercury, but gloss over the fact that he's gay. Sort of thing.
So, something else which I think is quite interesting, thinking back to perceptions of how gay people are portrayed in programs and media. I can remember back in the 90s and the early noughties, maybe when there were people would talk about things like Mr. Humphreys on Are You Being Served, that was like a gay stereotype and it was really offensive, and it was almost that's not how we want to be portrayed, as these kind of camp, funny, happy, limp-wristed kind of characters, and there was a lot of criticism about that, and I kind of agreed with that. Now, through today's eyes, it's almost like, well, so what if he is like that? Like, have you got a problem with it? Like, he's being himself, and I think that's something that's shifted quite a bit around how you portray people, and whether you get offended by people being portrayed in a certain way, or whether you'd actually say, "Hang on, that is that person as they are." It's not representative of everybody, but he's got the right to be as camp as he wants.
If the people who were saying derogatory things about like a Mr. Humphreys kind of character met a couple of gay, I don't know, bikers, they would suddenly realise, oh gosh, that
there's no difference.
There's no difference, and they're very masculine indeed, but they're gay as well. It's
That's definitely shifted in society, hasn't it? How thinking about when I first came out and being as a young man and feeling quite, I don't know, there was that whole sense of anger that the only time that gay people were shown in films and movies and TV, there were caricatures and stereotypes. That was wanted to be how I felt I wanted to live my life. And now, looking back at some of those characters and some of those people, you just think, well, that was just, yes, it was a very narrow stereotype view of how people are, but there were people that were like that.
Yeah, I remember being on some course at work and going like residential course and meetings, and the I don't know if there were 10 of us, but as the week went on, we stayed up increasingly late drinking, and we got quite. And even then, some guys sort of saying, if I'd have met you 10 years ago, I probably would have wanted to beat you up. But now I realize, but I've met you, and now I know more about you, and I'm thinking, well, but you haven't actually addressed why you would have wanted to beat me up, because I wouldn't have been any different. If I'd have been here 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been any different. That's your problem, not my problem.
Strange.
It's strange. People are strange. We could always have him come in the show and bump him off or something at some point, so he doesn't have to be in there for it. We'll see how it goes.
All right, we'll keep it up in the air.
Sometimes they do have characters on like soaps where they're supposed to be there the whole time, but you only see them every 6 months. Right. Are you ready to do the episode with Tappy and? Well, I'll do the introduction, and then I'll call you up and tell you what's going on, and then we'll skip to the actual thing.
I'll just follow your lead.
Yeah.
I heard that.
It went down too quick. Oh, dear. It came back out again. Oh, yeah. Oh, and no. That's quite enough. I was going to do a completely different voice, but I couldn't do it at the time, so well, we might have to come up with an actual voice when he's not. But maybe he can take medication for his laughter. And,
he was possibly a drunk vampire.
Yeah, well, I was kind of thinking of him being. I was listening. Well, one of the things I put on one of my episodes where it was made up of old tapes from 30 years ago. My friend Danny did a voice where it was very sort of voice. I was going to try and do that, but I couldn't get into the mood for it, so it just came out as it did. So, do you need to make a move, or can I have you for another 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, let me just get up and stretch and use the bathroom, and I'll be right back.
Cool.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? That's my living room. I think every single cast member of the Smellcast is assembled out there right now. They're awfully upset. And as you know, I've got a conversation here to finish with Ick the Alien, and that's what's going to happen. Anyways, I have no clue what's going to happen on this episode. I can't tell you a thing. It's all happening right now. Anyways, I'm going to leave you with my cast members out in the living room. Don't believe a word they say. They're hysterical, to be honest. I'm going to finish my conversation with Ick here in the studio, and we'll meet up at the end somehow. Somehow there will be an end to this episode. I have no clue. Anyway, okay. All right, well, have fun. Anyways, hope you enjoy listening. This is Behind the Scenes. Anyway, have fun.
Everyone,
please, let's all calm down and assess the situation as it truly is.
Okay, sure. Well, Toppy's in there talking to that Ick the alien from the Shy Life podcast. He's about to contract him, and as a result, all of us are about to be off the show.
This is what
Because in case none of you knew, this is another crossover between the Smellcast and the Shy Life podcast.
I don't know. Ceci has gotten you all riled up, possibly for nothing.
For nothing?
Okay, I just point out one more time. Yeah, baby. Jose Hideaway, right, at very much risk of everything, and we're gonna lose the whole place. I mean, if this goes through. Now, honestly, do either of you really feel that Tuppy would let that happen in a heartbeat? Well, maybe.
Oh, maybe. No. This is what I've been telling you since last episode. We're all doomed. Everything's falling apart.
Ceci.
Right over there in that room, it's happening. Toppy's talking to that weirdo slime ball alien from the Shy Life podcast.
Excuse me, Ceci.
What is it, Roger?
Well, I just thought of something. Do you know that since we know Ick the alien is in there talking with Toppy, do you know what else we know,
What are you talking about, Roger?
I'm trying to tell you, Sissy,
What?
that outside, parked somewhere nearby, is
what?
Ick the alien's spaceship.
Oh my God, Roger! Roger, you might be right.
How about, Sissy, if we nonchalantly just sort of stroll outside for a breath of fresh air?
Yeah, we can just stroll outside.
Right now. Let's do it. Come on.
Come on. Be very, very nonchalant.
Be nonchalant.
Exactly.
Sissy. Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Oh, look, we're outside.
Oh my God, is it nice to be out of there?
Oh, sure
Jesus.
is. Sure is. Oh, let me look at my device.
Your device? What's that?
Well, this is how we're going to find Ick's spaceship.
Oh, really?
Well, as you know,
I do?
it is parked in Invisi mode.
Oh, yeah, Invisi mode.
That's right.
Okay. So what does this do?
Well, look, we're pinging off it.
Yeah.
We're getting very close already.
Really? Ow!
Sissy,
What the hell was that?
I think you just bonked into the Invisi mode space. Anyways, we're here.
We're here.
You just feel yourself along. You should feel a rating and then steer.
Oh, I feel it.
Yes. It's good. Good, Stacey.
Come on, Roger.
These stairs will take us right up into the board of the
I can feel it.
spaceship.
Come on, let's go.
This is wonderful. Look at this. Stacey, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I don't know what I'm seeing here. All I know is the inside of this thing is a lot bigger than the outside.
I suppose this is all alien technology surrounding us. Isn't it miraculous?
Well,
This
I don't know.
alien must be from a very advanced society. And look at all of these.
I guess so. I don't know. Slime ball doesn't seem all that advanced. I mean,
But
I don't know.
can you possibly imagine what propels this vehicle through space and possibly time?
Yeah.
What could it be?
I don't know. I don't know, and I'm not sure I care to know.
What's this, Sassy?
What? I don't know.
Oh, press that button.
What? Wait a minute, you press the button.
For heaven's sakes, here. Oh, look at that. It's a room full of,
books.
Yeah, books.
Ick eats them.
Ooh.
Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, Ick eats books.
Really?
How about that? How advanced is eating books? I don't know, but that's what Ick eats books.
Wow, that's amazing.
If you say so. I don't know.
Close it off. Come on, Sassy, let's explore further.
Okay, lead on.
Oh, yes, follow me. Oh, this is so Sassy, look at this door. Look what the sign says.
It says auxiliary power unit.
Yeah. Well, open it up.
Okay, here.
Ooh, Sassy, look what we've uncovered.
What is it?
Why? It's this mysterious alien spaceship's auxiliary power source.
Auxiliary power.
Sassy, if it's auxiliary, it means it's additional. Well, what I mean is, Ick the alien doesn't need this power source. It's secondary.
Secondary, okay.
What I mean is, well, perhaps you and I can maybe confiscate it. And make an exit out of here.
Roger.
With the power auxiliary power source. Sissy, what do you think?
You think we're gonna steal it?
Borrow.
Oh, we're gonna borrow.
Sissy, we're gonna borrow it.
Well, that's an entirely different thing. How about that?
I think you can do this, and then twist, and then unhook it. Here we go.
Oh, Roger.
Oh, Sassy, it's ours.
What do you mean ours?
Sassy, don't look now, but we've just stolen an auxiliary power source. Come on, let's get out of here.
We stole it? Okay.
Let's get out of here. Oh, well, for heaven's sakes. Where have Roger and Sassy gone? They're not here.
I don't know. Yeah, they're not here.
When is Tuppy coming out of the bedroom?
Oh, honey, we never refer to Top Eye's recording studio as his bedroom. We don't know that.
But anyway, so yes, now I guess we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, I think.
Yes, and, well, I sort of need to know now. I mean, are you interested in signing me up for the smell cast?
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't mean you'd have to rush.
Oh, no, I get it. I really need to make a decision here, right?
Yes, if you please. I'm available now. Would you like to contract me to be on the smell cast?
Yeah.
I really have to have some options here.
Well,
Make
okay.
a decision.
Okay. Here's the thing, Ick.
Yes?
Well, the thing is, I really would like to have you to myself over here at the smell cast.
Yes.
Well, Ick, the thing is, I'm not really sure exactly what is going on, well, between you and Paul.
Yes.
But you have to understand, I would never come between you and Paul. Paul is my good friend, and well, so are you. But well, look, I know the two of you are going to come out of the skirmish you're having intact. Well, yeah. I just can't bring you onto the smellcast. It just wouldn't be right. I couldn't do that to Paul. So please, I know you can work this out. This contract thing with Paul, I know you can work it out.
Well, okay, Toppy. I accept your rejection.
Okay. Well, okay. Ick, we're still friends?
Of course, Toppy.
Okay, good.
I'll see what I can do to make up with Paul.
There you go. That'd be great. Well, good luck.
Goodbye, Toppy.
Okay, goodbye. I do have to say, the hour is getting rather late. I do hope Tuppy comes out of his recording studio soon.
I mean, we got to be at the restaurant.
We really do have our own things to do.
Well, so do Billy.
Okay, here we go, everybody. Hi. Hi. Thanks for waiting here in the living room with the chickens, and I don't know. But Tuppy, we've been waiting for you. We've been very concerned. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I know you're concerned. I know you have been talking with Ick the Alien all this time in your recording studio.
Yes, I have.
Well, what are we to make of that? I'll tell you, and Tuppy, everybody, just relax, calm down. It's not what you think. Yes, I have been talking with Ick the Alien. Well, where is he now? I'd like to know. Okay. I told Ick to just leave. I opened the window and he left through the window because I didn't think he should parade through this army of you guys. Tuppy, just tell us what your conversation with Ick was about. Okay, but it was nothing like you guys thought. I wasn't trying to contract with Ick. All I wanted to do was repair the relationship between Ick and Paul, anyways, on their show, and I had no intention ever of contracting with Ick, okay? It was just something that Sassy took off with. Do you guys understand now?
I guess
Of course,
I mean, I do.
Toppy, where we all feel so much better now. Don't we all? I mean, honestly, you guys have nothing to worry about anyway. The Smellcast will continue to go on. Maybe I've made a few choices about how long subplot should go on or whatever is story. I think it should I don't want storylines to go on for a year. No. Anyways, I've made a few decisions about that, but honestly, good, dear. None of you have to work. You're all still on the Smellcast, okay? Jesus Christ.
I gotta go now. Bye. Gotta go. Bye.
Goodbye.
It's been good, but yeah, definitely time to come home now.
Wow. Really? No kidding.
Goodbye. Yes, goodbye.
This show is part of the Pride 48 network. Find more shows over at pride48.com.
What's going on now? Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast. Let's go.
I have a voice.
I have a voice.
You have a voice. You have a voice.
We have a voice.
We have a voice.
Unique voices in podcasting.
UnivazPods.net.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a cough. Hang on.
Oh, see, that sounds bad.
Oh, God, that got
Sorry,
Paul.
Me chicory essence went down the wrong way.
You need to have a lie down.
Coffee.
John sounds like George Tovey.
Moses. George Tovey sounds like me. He's copying me. Thank you very much. Hello, Meg.
Have you been teaching him this?
What?
Honestly.
Rub your what?
I didn't
rub my furry coat.
Your hairy coat.
He wasn't wearing that the other day, was he? He had a Mac on.
He had a Mac on.
He had nothing on underneath it.
Was he going up the high street?
Hello, mate.
He'd been out for the day, hadn't he? It's Birmingham.
Is it
when he came back and found out his car wasn't MOT.
Hello, Meg, or have we just blown it out of all proportion?
He does say it quite a lot.
He does, yeah. He says it's one thing, it's not just Meg, Hello, Sandy.
I never knowingly heard him say it, except when I've been playing Fortnite.
Pretty thin script this week. I only get 3 Hello Megs.
One change of clothing.
We're due another Christmas soon, anyway.
Is it Christmas again?
It's November at the moment, so in the next few weeks it'll be Christmas again. We'll get the ugly children in the church.
It's always blooming Christmas. What are you watching?
It's the best Christmas King's Oaks ever had.
I don't know if it's just an American American policeman in the 70s, but I was watching an episode of Policewoman, and
dear Lord,
she was about to be sent on. She was about to be sent on like undercover, and she said, "Oh, I need to go and see my sister before." And her boss kind of says, "Oh, that's okay." When she goes to see her sister is about 40 years younger than her, so goodness knows what happened there. Well,
it was Cheryl Ladd was supposed to be Farrah Fawcett's sister, wasn't she? In Charlie's Totties or whatever it was called. Charlie's Angles, yes.
Charlie's ankles.
So she's supposed to be popping to see her sister in her lunch break, and she gets to her sister's, and she's wearing one really 1974 outfit, which looks great, and then she goes back to the police station, and she's managed to change again.
Hang on. Her sister's nearly about 40 years
her
younger.
sister is a girl, and she's a 40-year-old woman. So I just don't know quite how that happened. There.
It was a bit Buffy, innit? A bit Buffy there.
Perhaps it was a long journey.
Something. And she seems to have been able to change her costume about 3 times between scenes, which is great if you can afford to do that. The costume, this is where
Mr. Carter always had the knack of changing costumes.
Well, this is where British police. I just don't think this ever happens on
Juliet Bravo
on Zed's cars, really. Because
you don't get that many things. You don't get many WPCs.
Here's denim, and the whole denim trousers and denim top are studded with these silver buttons.
Okay.
She looks amazing, but it's not what I imagine a policewoman to be wearing. But it looks great.
Here's my tiny wee brother, Jimmy Lynch. Hello.
And so, at least one of the male characters, I wasn't sure if he was in disguise or what he was, whether he was dressed in a costume. But I think that's just supposed to be street clothes in 1974. But
Barry Dixon. Oh yes.
We don't talk about him.
He's only reached retirement age. He's 40 years younger than George.
He can drive faster, so he won't appear on the show.
Oh, that'll be the time dilation, won't it? He drives too fast, so he's younger.
And his hips are... What is it? His hips haven't fallen, or his bum hasn't fallen off. His hips
don't lie, I'm told by young people.
Oh.
Dear God.
A minute on the hips, a lifetime on the... No. What is it? A minute on the lips.
A minute on the lips is a lifetime on the hips. It depends what you're doing, though.
Yes, yeah. Those cold sores. Oh, dear me.
I think Nick and I are going to try and go live on YouTube after this.
Live on BoobTube.
Going live. Wow.
If you hang on, I can enter your chat and abuse and not abuse you. And send you messages.
Yeah, they'll have to wait.
Have you a Discord? Do you know what a Discord is? We
I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what that is.
No. We started playing Fortnite the other day, and this American chap turned up saying, "Hi, how are you? Have you got a Discord?" And we're like, 10 minutes ago,
What's that?
What's a Discord?
I'm always getting locked out of mine. I've got a Discord account, but forever getting locked out and needing two-tone
Two-tone horse?
No, authentication.
To let you back in.
I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, I just want nobody's
security's pretty tight there.
Account. Nobody cares.
It's just the woman that madness went one step beyond it.
It's just.
So, what are you going to be doing on your live broadcast?
Probably talking to
requests
you've been in recently.
I can't remember. I thought we were going to talk about what I've been watching.
Have you got a robot to tell you to hydrate after an hour? You've got to have one of those.
We have to relate it to the podcast.
I'm always
Robbie. Hi, Nick.
It doesn't make sense to appear on the podcast. So we'll talk about both. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Well,
thank you.
I'll send you the file late after your broadcast, then, if that's all right. Because if you're going to fire up fairly soon, I'll come in. What is the time? Oh, 3:45 already.
Yeah, I've got to go get the washing in.
Okay.
It's all rock and roll in the podcast as well.
See you later.
Bye, Lisa. Lisa's off.
He's got to watch it in.
Well, it's been in the drying machine for 2 hours. It'll probably have shrunk. It'll probably have shrunk to like 1 square.
You're not hang it out upon the washing line?
Oh God, no! We don't have time for that. Not here.
Builders turned up outside the flat, and they took a load of ladders off the thing. It started raining for 5 minutes, and they put all the ladders back and drove away. I stayed for about 5 minutes. They're
typical British workers.
They're very quick to cancel their work.
I have to ask Mr. T, as I ask him each week, have you got a man coming round again? There's Lisa, because Lisa has all these men coming round, doesn't she?
No. You've got no more men coming, have you, Lisa?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
Gardener's coming Monday. It's not raining.
Oh, the garden man might be coming Monday. Is it Monday he's coming?
Might come and trim your shrubbery.
Yeah. We've got an out-of-control Budley here.
I'm sorry to hear that. I got some cream for that.
Oh, I was hacking at me Budleyer last night.
God, they don't have shoot up, do they?
Well, then I thought, well, it hasn't quite flowered yet. It seems a shame.
Were you
deflowered the butterfly? And partly, yes, because the bits that were sticking out on the path. But it'll upset the butterflies because it's very good for your butterflies and your bees.
I did see you, Red Admiral.
Yes, there's just we got some butterfly, but of course, according to the lying BBC weather app, we're having thunderstorms all afternoon and until about 10 o'clock tonight. But so far, we haven't had one.
Oh, they've left us. They're on their way up. They're probably just got onto the National Express coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's supposed to. Yes, it's like jaggedy lines all day.
It was subtropical.
Yeah, it's very warm. It is very warm.
Subcultural.
It rained overnight here.
Oh, wait, I say it's a bit warm, isn't it? A bit too warm for me.
Well, we better go and do our YouTube.
You blasted them away.
We'll have a modicum of sanity over on YouTube now. Yeah.
Now on YouTube, a choice of listening.
And on BBC Two, the Virginian.
There's not that many videos on that YouTube, is there? Just a few. It's fine.
It's fine. There were not many videos on there. Now the Virginian.
Yeah. So what is Discord then? What's that in?
Paul better explain. It's a voice thing, isn't it?
You're very good at explaining things.
People do use it for podcasting and stuff. It's like a forum. So
it's a bit like Zoom.
You can also have a chat forum. I think I have a show like podcast chat forum on there.
Ah, right.
But I don't know. Pride 48 use it as their chat forum if they have any live shows.
Oh, so you link it to your YouTube account, and I get it. Right, okay.
I did go on there occasionally when you did live shows, but if I got there too early, it was terribly scary.
I had terrible trouble trying to. Once upon a time, I decided I might upload some of the shows to YouTube, and it wouldn't accept them in any format at all. It wouldn't let me convert them or anything. It was just really weird. I couldn't find a format that it would accept. So I didn't.
You have to convert them to MP4s, which means putting them into photo editor and adding a picture, and then making the picture like an hour long.
Yeah, but that was the thing. It just made it. The file was so huge that I'm running out of hard drive space all the time these days. Anyway, blah. Right, okay.
I'll see you on YouTube then.
I'll be recording with you on Wednesday, Martin.
Yes, indeed, yes. We'll keep it sane and sensible and do our normal, sane, sensible things. Like I do with Warren. Sensible programming.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you very much.
Right, nice to talk to you all. Yes. Do you know then?
See you on the Fortnite battlefield.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Bye. Love you all. Bye.
Boy, I hope Nick Goodman is on this episode. Ooh-wee, that was a long one today, huh, folks?
What the hell just happened on this show? I mean, seriously, reverse it, because I lost... What's going on? What happened?
Well, gotta tell you, I didn't expect that.
658.
658.
This is just the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Does that make me Timmy the dog?
If you want to identify as Timmy the dog, you can identify as Timmy the dog. So does that make Paul and I Anne and George then? Do we have to fight to get
If you want, I don't care. I'm a dog. You can be what you like.
Good day, esteemed listeners. Pray, mark your diaries for the 15th to the 17th of September, for you shall want to be in attendance at pride48.com. We cordially invite you to our grand denouement, the 15th, and indeed final annual podcasting gala. Join us as we traverse the kaleidoscope of our community, featuring delightful LGBTQ and LGBTQ-friendly podcasts from the illustrious Pride 48 lineup, as well as a few surprises. It's your last opportunity to be part of this extraordinary event. Should you desire further particulars, visit the Pride 48 website. Don't forget, dear listener, September 15th to the 17th. Don't miss your opportunity to partake in this splendid celebration. Only at pride48.com.